Sample 1 has been in here for exactly 3 minutes and 15 seconds now, and it's almost completely melted. This is how sample 1 is looking. I know this has something to do with the road salt because another sample is exactly the same with very minimal melting. This is after 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Sample 1 is about half melted. This is how another ice cube looks in real time. It hasn't melted at all, so these were set at exactly the same time. Also, keep in mind that snow is more dense than ice, so in real life, my road salt will melt snow a bit faster than it melts the ice. Anyways, this is sample 1 after about 8 minutes. Sample 1 after 10 minutes and 15 seconds. Here is sample 1 after 12 minutes and 30 seconds. And here is sample 1 after 13 minutes and 15 seconds. Completely melted. Now a piece of ice for trying sample 2. Sample 2. The timer is going in real time. Here is how it's looking after 5 minutes and 25 seconds. When I lift the road salt I made, it's hard to tell, but it's more indented in the place where this has been. And the road salt on the side has almost completely melted. This is the salt after 7 minutes and 14 seconds. It's definitely not melting as fast as sample 1. This is after 10 minutes and 39 seconds of sample 2. It's melted quite a bit, like halfway I would say. This is sample 2 after 14 minutes and 15 seconds. Almost completely melted. And this is after 17 minutes and 30 seconds. The ice is melted. Now we're going to try one ice cube with some plain pink sea salt to see if the results differ. In the meantime, in the separate bowl, we are now going to test sample 3, which has much more beetroot in it. Here's sample 3. Here's sample 1 after 3 minutes and 42 seconds. This is the sample of normal sea salt. It's currently melted that much. Here's the sample of this is sample number 4 that I set exactly 1 minute after I set this sample. This is how it's looking. Here are the samples after 6 minutes. This one seems to be melting pretty quickly. And this one is also making pretty good progress. And you can actually see where the salt is. There's definitely an indent. So it is the salt doing a lot of the work. Here is the salt ice after 9 minutes and 36 seconds. And mine. And my salt. This is sample 3, I believe. It actually, surprisingly, seems to have more progress than this one. And this one was placed a minute after. And I've done absolutely nothing to them. I've just been waiting. Here's sample 3 after 13 minutes. And here is the salt after, it's essentially 14 minutes, but this one's 13 because it was placed a minute after. And here they are after 15 minutes and 30 seconds. This one had just a bit left, and this one has like just that really tiny one left. In my real beetroot road salt, there will be none of that residue, since this was my very first sample, and I have since then adjusted and improved my sample so that there will be none of that residue left over. Lastly, we're doing a piece of ice with sample 4. Just gonna put some on it. And start the timer. This is how it's looking after 6 minutes. Pretty decently melted. This is after 13 minutes and 36 seconds. The ice is almost completely melted. And here is it at 14 minutes and 40 seconds. Basically completely melted. This one left the least residue and melted fairly quickly as well. In conclusion, the first sample was the fastest, but the fourth sample left the least amount of residue. The beetroot sample was also pretty quick, but it does have that residue that it leaves. And the first and second sample do have a bit of a bad smell, if that makes any difference. But they do work fairly quickly, especially this sample 1.